Hey y'all, it's me, Stop Dropping Roll On, and I was just checking in real quick because I got to go in here and get ready for work and get out of here and going. But I wanted to check in. I'm trying something a little bit different as far as my working out is concerned, and I can't keep you posted on it, but basically it ain't nothing to keep posted on, so I just say it here. I'm trying to start easing myself back into working out more in the morning and getting up and getting this going. I think it helps me to stay on track a lot better as far as just keeping moving and stuff like that. Just kind of like a boost, I guess I should say. And also I know for one thing for sure, my emotional well-being is boosted in the morning. I'm already a morning person, but when I get up and get to moving around, as far as workout is concerned, it is more, it just kind of like goes a little bit more higher, and I'm able to sustain that. And it's basically what I'm talking about is endorphins, and I've talked about endorphins before, and I do, really do. I'm a proponent of just doing everything that I can on a natural tip to keep myself, moving forward and being positive and stuff like that. So, that for me works a lot better. Sometimes if I wait and I work out in the evening, I get that boost in the evening, but then I have a hard time coming down to rest. And I'm not a big person as far as a lot of sleep. I don't have a big sleep requirement. And so I need it all is what I'm saying. So I got, my goal for today is to get 5 miles in. So I got up this morning and I did 2 and, everything. And so I owe myself still 3. I will do them. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to do them on my lunch break. Try to at least 2 of them. Get them in. But if I time things correctly, I probably may be able to get all 3 in. I'll put it like that. If I'm doing a 15-minute mile, which means I have to, I got to churn it. And I'm titling today's message, Mind Over Matter. And usually when we hear that, we start thinking, every time I make that statement, I always think about when we were growing up, y'all, we used to look at Gunsmoke. And you know how they be doing stuff. Somebody gets shot and they give them a swig of whiskey and give them a tree branch with a rag tied around them and tell them to bite down on it and don't think about what we doing here. You ain't got bit by a snake and they cutting out the meat. I'm getting graphic here, ain't I? I don't think about stuff like that. Anyway, doing all that kind of stuff. And so you going to a mind over matter situation like that, I am very grateful to God that I was not born back at that time, because I can't tell you how I would react. But I'm just saying, I don't know if I would be real good at mind over matter in that type of circumstance. But usually when we say that statement, that's what we're talking about. Mind over matter. Don't think about what's going on right now. You're in pain, but you ain't in pain. Don't be thinking about this right here, right now. You da-da-da-da-da. So it's kind of like in your mind, you're doing the opposite. Basically, you doing the opposite of what's actually going on, And then from a biblical standpoint, the word says, that you call things that are not as though they are, And to be totally honest, the stuff really is just you're calling it into the natural, okay? And I ain't gonna get too deep with that, but if you know what I'm saying, that is scripture. But mind over matter, I'm getting a different spin on that. Not the biblical standpoint, because I ain't adding or taking away from that. I'm talking about the term, because I have noticed, and I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not, but the last few times I've gone into the store, and it's been, I just really, overall have been, how you pay attention to what you're looking at. Most people do anyway, and what you're buying and what's in it and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not going to go off on my soapbox. But there has been, and I have a cousin, and we try to keep up with each other as far as working out and stuff like that is concerned. She's much smaller than I am. And she is always talking about like they eat tuna, and the tuna they buy is wild caught, pole caught tuna, and it's like $5 a can. And I'm like, that's all fine and good for you. Me personally, I can't get nobody five. I don't need tuna fish that bad that I got to pay you $5 for a little bitty short can of tuna fish. Now, if it get to be, I just ain't gonna do it. I do draw the line on some things. And so she was talking about, she had sent me this seasoning, which it's a smoked pepper and sea salt combination, but it's smoked. And it really is good, you know. And she was talking about, well, we put it on our wild caught fish and our wild caught salmon and wild caught, grass fed, yada, yada, yada. All the catchphrases. And so I asked her where was she buying the salmon from, and we, you know, kind of got into going back and forth talking. Excuse me. And I told her, I said, next time you go in the store, look at the package on the salmon. Just look at it. I said, and I'm going to leave it at that, but I'm going to tell you next time you go. And I know her, so she probably went that same day. On the salmon that they are selling where she was getting the salmon from, and I have a store by that same name by me, salmon, wild caught, big as day, all over the packaging, okay? And so what you're doing is your mind is saying wild caught equals good, equals this is what I'm hearing is supposed to be the best, equals this is what I'm going to buy. Instead of looking at the actual matter in your hand, which is the salmon with a label on it with the true information, because they're supposed to be putting truth on there. The truth is that the salmon was caught in the United States of America. And then down in little tiny words at the bottom, it says that it was sent to China for processing. And then obviously it done made it back to my local grocery store. Now, I don't understand why something got to be caught here and sent all the way over to be processed and then back to me. That's a lot of traveling for that little salmon that just got pulled out of whatever water to be traveling just to be making it back to my freezer section. I don't understand that. And so she came back a couple of days later and she was just like, OMG. And I was like, exactly. So get off the buzz phrases and start reading what it is that you're picking up. Get off the buzz, phrases as far as, going with your mind. What your first thought is to hone in on the word, on the catchphrases that we get thrown, GMO, non-GMO. Gluten. Mustard has always been gluten-free. You don't need to put gluten-free on mustard. You don't need to put gluten-free on tennis shoes. I don't need to go in there and gluten-free sitting up on a cooking utensil. And I have seen gluten-free on a bunch of stuff that just really don't make no sense. Okay? Seriously, I'm not playing, y'all. And so I'm just saying, mind over matter applies in some instances, but mind over matter does not apply when you are starting to look at labels, where you're reading the fine print. I mean, we really need to get into the habit of reading the fine print on stuff, because that's where all that information about all that little traveling that Charlie the Tuna had made. No, that wasn't tuna. Charlie the Salmon had made while, trying to make it back to my local grocer. I'm not a fan of that. That don't make sense to me. And so that's my word for today. Mind over matter. When we talking about biblical stuff, things, we do need to renew our mind every day. The word says also, like I said earlier, you call things that are not as though they be. But when you go in the grocery store or you doing things as related to health, make sure it makes sense. Okay, read it and then just say, why do something got to be picked out my backyard and then travel thousands of miles and then just to come back to me? I don't know what happened with that little piece of meat, you know, while it's en route to where it's going. The truck could have broke down. It could have been sitting out somewhere on a dock for a long time. And I don't even know what the processing means, you know. And everybody got different processing, you know, standards and stuff like that. I'm not talking about folks. I'm just saying. I got to go in here and get myself straightened out. I got 2 miles in. I'm going to put some more in later on. And I will talk to y'all later. Have a good day.